Hello, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the 8th episode in a Naruto Uzumaki story in which a few little changes might have a significant impact. Knowledge provided early in Naruto's career converted him from a hopeless loser to a powerful and skilled shinobi. Historical differences that have long ago passed have resulted in a totally different consequence than we imagined. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. To begin, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the party started. The next morning found Naruto being woken up by that damned infernal clock of his, its blaring beep annoying him to no end. Before it could beep too much, Naruto picked it up and hurled it across the room, shattering it as it hit the wall. A few seconds later the blonde shinobi sat up and yawned, stretching himself out before swinging his legs over the edge and getting out of bed. Putting his hand in the ever-familiar ram seal, he made a cage bunshine to cook him breakfast while he headed towards the shower and began to get ready. After he finished drying himself off, Naruto made his way over to his new dresser, one he had bought with the money he made from his A-rank mission, since the amount of cash he had come out with on that had given him enough money to do a little splurging. Even though he had been forced to hedge into a random civilian in order to get it, since they had kicked him out the moment he had entered the shop as himself. Opening up the necessary drawers, he grabbed his clothes. A pair of black Hanbo-styled pants, a fishnet shirt that went under a black sleeveless Chinese-style shirt with a dark orange trim. He also wrapped his bandages around his calves and foot before putting on a new pair of black Hanbo-issue shinobi sandals that Tenten had managed to get for him. Walking over to his closet, Naruto opened the door to reveal several sets of black full-body cloaks. Naruto had originally let Tenten choose them for him because he felt they added a mysterious aura. However, they also had the practical use of hiding his hand seals and masking movements until when he was in a taijutsu battle, an advantage that had helped him in his fights quite a bit. He grabbed one of them and pushed the rest aside to reveal a cubby that had been created from a modified containment seal. He reached in and pulled out the box, setting it in his cloak on the bed. Opening it, Naruto grabbed the containment scrolls he had created that were inside. Each one contained a set number of necessary supplies: kunai, shuriken, ninja wire, flashbangs, smoke bombs, custom-made exploding notes, and various forms of weaponry. Having hung out with Tenten as much as he had, Naruto had obviously learned the value of being a walking armory. Naruto grabbed several scrolls. Each one contained well over the necessary amount for a standard A-rank mission, another habit he had picked up from his weapon-using friend. He also grabbed some that held food, camping, and camouflage equipment. Next he unrolled one of the scrolls that held his weapons. Unsealing them, Naruto looked at what he wanted to bring. There was a bow staff, naginata, katana, nadachi, kadachi, his new gauntlet, and kusarigama. Tenten had proclaimed he was decently sufficient in the use of all of them, meaning he could hold his own for more than half an hour against her. But he really only excelled with the bow staff and a katana. Deciding it was better to be safe than sorry, Naruto grabbed the bow staff and sealed into the containment seal on his left hand, and the katana on his right. He picked up the gauntlet and put it on his right hand after that, and then placed his special containment scroll for the kunai and senbon into the containment seal for the launcher. After that he placed his cloak on, hiding his body from view. Feeling ready, he went into the kitchen to eat, and then he would head over to the academy. Coming up on the academy, Naruto found his two teammates already there, sitting outside of the entrance and obviously waiting for him. "How come you're here so late?" Sakura asked in a loud voice. "Sakura, it's 3:30, we've got half an hour before the Chunin exams start. Why would I want to wait for Kami knows how many hours in a room with loads of other people, when I can just relax at home?" Naruto asked in a bored voice. Sakura turned red with anger at what she perceived as Naruto insulting her. "Anyway, the team over there looks like he's getting antsy, so let's go." Naruto did not give the pinkhead a chance to reply as he walked inside and began walking up the stairs. After a minute or two his teammates began to follow him, making their way towards the door he had left through. Said teammate was already walking up the stairs, making his way towards the room where the first stage was supposed to begin. When Naruto reached the next floor, it was to find at least a dozen Jonin standing around the designated door, with two other Jonin blocking said door and beating anyone who tried to get past them. "Now that's odd, I could have sworn I had only gone up one flight of stairs." Naruto frowned as he watched the two Jonin bully everyone else and replayed the last few seconds in his mind to confirm that he was indeed on the second floor. So then how come that door says 31? His eyes widened as he realized what was going on. Of course. Idiot. That door obviously has a genjutsu on it or something. Genjutsu was one of his worst subjects. He could break out of several C and even a few B rank ones thanks to Naruto asking Kakashi to place him under several genjutsu and make him break out of them. However, detecting genjutsu was something he still had trouble with. Naruto had to actively pulse his chakra and search his own system to find foreign chakra that would indicate he was in a genjutsu. This form was useless when in battle since it took far too long, and it also did not work on area-wide genjutsu since they were not genjutsu that invaded the body but was dispersed around the area the genjutsu was cast, which would explain why he was unable to detect this one and had to rely on his memory and knowledge of the area to realize what was going on. Now that he knew what was going on, Naruto looked over at the two Jonin who were guarding the door more closely. If this is a genjutsu, then those two must be chunin who were supposed to keep the unworthy from passing. Now that I look at them, they do remind me of Kotetsu and Izumo, so they must be under henge. He snorted, what a lame-ass henge, they didn't even change their appearance, just their age. Idiots. With that sorted out in his mind, the whiskered blonde began to walk on, ignoring the conversation that was going on at the door. Come on, let us through. One of the Jonin in the hallway yelled. PSH. You think we're going to let you through just because you tell us to? People die in these exams, and those who don't sometimes quit being a shinobi altogether simply because of the mental and emotional trauma they go through, the henged Kotetsu said. Really, we're doing you guys a favor. Please let us through. Naruto stopped just as he was about to reach the exit to the next set of stairs when he heard the familiar voice. Turning around, he focused his attention on a familiar brown-haired girl. Tenten? I should have known her team would be in these exams. They have a year's worth of experience over me, and their sensei is a training nut after all. Didn't you hear me? Kotetsu said as he reared his fist back. I said get lost. He threw his fist at Tenten. However, before it could hit, Naruto intercepted it. Now that's not very nice, Naruto said with a slight grin, a grin that made Kotetsu and Izumo actually shiver as it reminded them of Anko when she was looking for blood. Or that one time Izumo had knocked her over while eating dango. It was a particularly traumatizing memory that they did not want to recall. Internally grinning at the way they shivered, and mentally thanking Anko, the spiky-haired blonde continued, didn't your mother teach you not to hit a lady? Humph. We were just doing her a favor, Izumo replied, trying to regain his bravado. I suggest you heed our advice. This exam isn't for something just anyone can take and hope to survive. Naruto smirked as he let go of Kotetsu's hand. Don't worry, I was just looking for my friend who you were about to hit, by the way. The blonde Konoha shinobi turned around to look at Tenten and winked. Yo! I was looking all over the place for you, Tenten. He turned her around and wrapped an arm over her shoulder, leading her to where he saw Neji. When they had gone a certain distance away, Naruto leaned in and whispered into her ear, you do realize that this is the second floor, right? Tenten looked at him strangely, the second floor? But that door said. Her eyes widened a bit as she remembered going up only 2 flights of stairs. She turned to glare on Neji. Why didn't you tell me we were only on the second floor? Neji shrugged, I did not deem it necessary. Tenten scowled a bit while Naruto rolled his eyes. You know, you sure treat your teammates like shit. Has anyone ever told you that you're a douchebag? Neji's eyes narrowed at Naruto, and veins began to pulse around his eyes as he activated his Byakugan in an effort to enhance his glare. The two of them had never gotten along. Naruto was a lot more like Lee, believing that hard work can overcome anything, including genius. While Neji believed everything was controlled by fate and had gone out of his way to inform the blonde on the error of his ways on many occasions. Needless to say, whenever the blonde would come and train with Team 9, the two would always butt heads. Oi! Drop the genjutsu and let us pass. The pair both turned around to see Sasuke standing there with a smirk on his features as he looked at the two disguised chunin at the door. Sakura noticed it the moment we got here. Isn't that right, Sakura? Despite being surprised by the raven-haired Jonin's words, Sakura became ecstatic that her Sasuke-kun was involving her in something. She nodded her head and immediately backed him up. Yeah, that's right. We're only on the second floor. It's so obvious even a child could see through it. Naruto groaned as the pair made asses of themselves. Even he could tell this was supposed to weed out the losers who would not even stand a chance in the exams. Seriously, how was he the dead last when there were people like that? Sasuke at least should have known. Naruto sighed and tried to control the irritation he was feeling. While he did not like Sasuke in any way and enjoyed making fun of him every chance he got, he would at least acknowledge that his teammate was intelligent. However, sometimes the Uchiha era was just a pain in the ass, especially when he tried to show off like he was now. So you noticed it, did you? Kotetsu smirked as the genjutsu on the door was dispelled, revealing it to be the second floor. Impressive. But just because you saw through it, doesn't mean you're good enough to enter. Kotetsu launched a kick at Sasuke, who retaliated with a kick from the opposing leg. However, both kicks were caught by the green blur that was Lee, who managed to catch both their legs with just one hand. Now is not the time to be fighting. the green-clad Junon said in a calm voice, releasing their legs. That guy caught both our legs like it was nothing. Sasuke's eyes narrowed as he looked at the green-clad Junon. He must have some serious chakra in his hands. Way to go and make an ass of yourself, team, Naruto said as he made his way over to them. I can't believe you actually let all these people pass. Now we're going to have to contend with a bunch of losers who couldn't even see through a simple genjutsu. Sasuke scowled at the insult. However, being an Uchiha, he did not deign to give Naruto a response other than his standard grunt, HN. Lee, what happened to disguising our strength? I thought that was your idea, Neji said with a frown. Wasn't that the plan we agreed on? Yes, but... Lee turned his attention to Sakura and blushed. Oh boy, here it comes, thought Naruto as he resisted the urge to snicker. You are Sakura-san, yes? Asked Lee as he appeared in front of her. Yeah, Sakura replied, taking a step back from the creepy spandex-wearing Junon. I am Rock Lee. Let's go out sometime, I will protect you with my life. Lee gave the pink cat the nice guy pose complete with gleaming teeth and wink. No, Sakura said in a deadpan voice. Anime tears began to stream down Lee's face, but why not? Because you're weird, Sakura stated, causing Lee's shoulders to slump. Naruto snickered a bit before patting Lee on the back. There, Lee. There are plenty of other fish in the sea. Plenty of better-looking ones too. He winced slightly as the thought crossed his mind and an image of Haku appeared. He promised that he would not let her death consume him, that he would move on but always keep her in his memories. Sometimes it was hard to keep that mindset, but he was working on it. Neji just sneered as he watched his teammates and the blonde kid who occasionally trained with them. He turned his attention to Sasuke. You, what's your name? HN. Sasuke smirked. Isn't it considered proper manners to give your name before asking for someone else's? Neji scowled while Naruto stuck a fist in his mouth so he would not laugh. Leaning over he whispered to Tenten, looks like Konoha's #1 emo team has finally met Konoha's #1 snob in what's sure to be the battle of the century. As Tenten giggled he looked back up to the two who were glaring at each other. Naruto leaned back and cupped his hands around his mouth to make a microphone. Hey Neji. I'm sorry to inform you, but you're too late. Sasuke-chan has already found the love of his life in one of the Suna shinobi here. Shut up Dobi, Sasuke yelled. Meanwhile, Neji had activated his Byakugan and glared at the blonde, who had gone back to ignoring them. That wasn't very nice Naruto-kun, Tenten said, though she could not help but let the small giggle escape, finding what he had said and the insult on the pair's sexuality to be hilarious. Naruto raised an eyebrow as he looked at her in curiosity. Since when did you call me kun? Tenten blushed as she realized what she said. She did not get a chance to say anything however as Sakura grabbed him by the back of his cloak. Come on Baka. Let's go or we're gonna be late. Hey! Naruto ripped the pink cat's hand off of his clothes. Hands off the merchandise Pinky. Tenten watched Team 7 leave, shaking her head in amusement. Tenten. Neji called, making her turn her attention to him. Let's go before the exam starts. Oh right. I'm coming. Tenten began walking in Neji's direction before she stopped when she noticed her green-clad teammate was standing still, looking in the direction Naruto's team had left in. Lee, you coming or what? Lee, who had not been following them, turned and looked at her. You and Neji may go on ahead, there is something I need to check out. Do not worry, I will catch up. Tenten looked at him for a moment before she shrugged and began following Neji. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura walked towards the set of stairs that were in front of them. However, as they moved they saw Rock Lee standing on the next floor with a serious expression on his face. You, the one with the black eyes and bad attitude, I wish to challenge you. Lee jumped off the stairs and landed in front of them. My name is Rock Lee. The green-clad Junon got into the beginning stance for what Naruto knew was the Goken, feet together with one fist tucked into his side and his other hand out in a bring it on gesture. You said it was common courtesy to give your name before asking for someone else's. Am I right? Sasuke smirked as he looked at the kid and gave him an answer, Uchiha Sasuke. So it is true. You are this year's Rookie of the Year that everyone has been talking about. It would be an honor to fight you, Lee exclaimed. Naruto groaned. Listen Lee, I know you've wanted to beat the snot out of emo Temas like him and Neji for a while now. But since he's my teammate I need him alive and in one piece, alright? Do not worry Naruto-kun, I will not hurt him too badly. Lee gave Naruto the nice guy pose. Sasuke scoffed at the mere thought that the Dobi thought he would be defeated. HN. You know my name and yet you challenge me? You must be dumber than I thought. Oh great, there goes Mr. Ego. Naruto cited how large Sasuke's head had been getting since he unlocked his Sharingan. I'll see you two up there. I have no desire to watch Sasuke get his ass kicked. Naruto left, not paying attention to Sakura screaming at him about how her Sasuke-kun wasn't going to lose. As Naruto reached room 301, it was to find Kakashi standing outside the doorway, reading his smut. "Kakashi-sensei? What are you doing here?" Naruto asked. Kakashi looked up from his book and I smiled. "Oh, I'm just here to wish you luck." He blinked for a moment as he noticed something, or rather someone's were missing. "Naruto, where are Sasuke and Sakura?" Naruto shrugged. "Sasuke's getting his ass beat by your eternal rival's clone." He chuckled as he watched Kakashi shudder, "and Sakura is probably cheering him on, or trying to help him up after his ass got beat." As if on cue, Sasuke and Sakura came up with the latter looking worried and the former looking bruised. "So I can see how you really proved your superiority as an Uchiha," Naruto smirked. "Shut it, Dobi," Sasuke hissed, rubbing the bruise on his cheek. Naruto sighed. "I told you he would win. That kid has been a Jonin for a year longer than we have. He has far more experience than either of us and his method of training is utterly ridiculous. You need to learn to choose your battles team." Sasuke did not say anything, but the small wince told Naruto that the raven-haired Jonin at least recognized what the blonde was saying. Something could be considered a miracle in and of itself, since the last Uchiha in Konoha had not listened to any of his advice since they had gotten back to Konoha. Ahem, Kakashi coughed into his hand, getting the attention of his team before things got out of hand. "Well, I'm glad to see you three came. Had one of you not made it, I would have had to disqualify all of you." Naruto tilted his head in confusion. "Why? I thought the Chunin exams were optional?" "There are, but they also have to be taken as a team," Kakashi shrugged. "So then why didn't you tell us that?" asked Naruto, a little annoyed that his sensei would leave out something so important. "I didn't tell you and Sasuke that because I knew either one or both of you would have tried to pressure Sakura into taking it." Naruto sighed and conceded the point. "Yeah, I suppose that's true. But none of that matters now. You're all here, and all for the right reasons." Kakashi gave them an eye smile. "I know I don't say this too much, but I'm proud of you three." The three Jonin grinned. While Naruto grinned, Sakura had a small smile, while Sasuke was smirking. The three Jonin stepped past their sensei and opened the doors where the Chunin exams would start. The very moment Team 7 had entered the room, every single Jonin began glaring at them. Many of the Jonin teams, who were older than them by several years, began leaking killing intent at the trio. Sakura paled and began to shake, having not had much experience with killing intent other than Zabuza and the Kyubis at the battle on the bridge, and even then she had passed out before it could get too bad. Sasuke looked a tad nervous, but soon regained his Uchiha bravado. Naruto, who had been subject to far worse, both from Zabuza and Anko, shrugged it off and began glaring back, giving a few teams a dose of his own killing intent that he had Anko helped develop. He grinned when several Jonin began to look away. Just as the trio were about to find a place to sit, a loud squeal erupted behind them. "Sasuke-kun! I missed you so much." Ino jumped on top of Sasuke, wrapping her arms around his neck and her legs around his waist. "Did you miss me too?" Several tick marks appeared on Sakura's forehead. "Get the hell off him, Ino pig." Ino looked over at Sakura and pulled her eyelid down while sticking her tongue out. "Why would I do that, forehead girl? After all, Sasuke-kun and I have a lot of catching up to do." "Man, you guys are here too, so troublesome." Naruto turned and smirked at seeing Shikamaru and Kuuji walking up to them. "What's up, you two? Been having fun?" "Mei, trying to do something fun is far too troublesome," Shikamaru said with a yawn. Naruto rolled his eyes at the answer he had come to expect from the Lizzie Jonin. He had occasionally taken to hanging out with the two on Sunday when he was not training, and had come to know the two decently in that time together. "Yahoo, we found you guys." Turning again, everyone saw Kiba, Shino with Hinata staring at Naruto as she hid behind Shino. Kiba walked up to the group with a large, cocky grin. "I hope you guys are ready to lose to my team. 'Cause we're gonna rock." Naruto smirked. "I was wondering what that smell was. I should have known it was you, Kiba." Kiba stopped and growled at Naruto. "What was that, Dobi? You want me to kick your ass?" "Just try." Naruto's grin widened, a small trace of bloodlust in his grin. "I'll take you to the pound." Kiba began to growl at the blonde and looked like he might actually attack him. But before he could, a new voice entered the picture. "You know, you guys should really keep it down." The three new Jonin teams looked over to see one of the older kids walking up to them. He was wearing a purple shirt and pants of the same color. He had round glasses on and white hair with a Konoha headband strapped to his head. He pushed his glasses up onto the bridge of his nose. "You guys are the rookies who just came out of the academy, right? I wouldn't be so loud if I were you. And just who the hell are you?" Asked Kiba with a growl, still upset that the dead last had made fun of him. The purple-clad Jonin just smiled as if not bothered by the rude remark. "My name's Kabuto, and before you get angry at me, you should look behind you." Everyone did and was instantly subject to the glares and the wave of killing intent sent to them, particularly the Jonin from Namikaze village hidden in the rain. Most of the rookie Jonin shivered at the killing intent they were now feeling. "That team from Ame, I hear they have rather short tempers," Kabuto muttered to them. While some of the other rookies were trying to regain their lost courage, Naruto just smirked as he jumped on top of one of the tables. "Alright, listen up, you chicken shit pansies. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. If any of you want a piece of me, get in a nice and orderly single file line and I'll kick each and every one of your asses real quick." That statement was met with various reactions from the ninja in the room. "Yosh. Naruto-kun seems to be in full form today," Lee said at seeing his friend and sparring partner so enthusiastic. Tenten chuckled, "Is it just me, or has he gotten even worse with that mouth of his? It's the fate of losers like him to be allowed," Neji sneered. Both Tenten and Lee looked at Neji with a frown. Their teammate had been getting progressively worse with his fate rants, ever since Naruto had shown up and started training with them. In fact, both of them were nearing their wits' end on what to do about Neji's attitude. However, they kept their peace for the moment. "It's that damn kid again." Kankuro glared at the blonde as he hopped off the table. "That punk's gonna get himself killed." Temari looked over at Naruto with a smirk. "I don't know, I think he makes things kind of interesting. Maybe I should see if he wants to go on a date after this." While Kankuro began to sputter, Gaara just stared at Naruto with an impassive gaze. Two of the ninja from Kumo looked over at the odd blonde kid who was yelling before turning their attention back to their conversation. The other Kumo ninja, a blonde-haired kunoichi, also stared curiously at the blonde for a few seconds before dismissing him. "Wow, Naruto, enthusiastic much?" asked Kuji, feeling a bit better now that the killing intent was gone. "You know, sometimes you're more troublesome than Ino," Shikamaru muttered. "What was that, Shikamaru?" Ino glared at him and pretended to roll up her non-existent sleeves. After the rookies got over Naruto's proclamation of lying on a heavy ass kicking, they turned back to Kabuto. "Your name is Kabuto-san, right?" asked Sakura. Kabuto pushed his glasses up, something Naruto was beginning to think was a habit for the other Jonin. "Yay, that's right. So is this your second time taking these exams?" the pinkhead asked. "No, this is my .7th, Kabuto replied, an embarrassed blush on his face. "7th? Naruto asked incredulously. "Either you suck so much balls it's amazing you're still alive, or these exams are harder than I thought." "It's the latter, I assure you," Kabuto chuckled. "However, you know what they say, 7th time's the charm. And it's not like I didn't get anything out of it." The purple-clad shinobi reached into his pouch and pulled out a deck of cards. "Since you guys are new and all, why don't I give you a hand?" He kneeled down on the ground and began channeling chakra into the top card. There was a small burst of smoke as he flipped it over. The rookie Jonin leaned in to see that it showed a map of the elemental nations. On each nation was a bar with a number. "These are my info cards. Look here, as you can see, Konoha has the most teams participating. Of course that's a given since we're on home turf. But just about every shinobi village has brought Jonin here to participate. We've even got a team from Kumo this year, a rarity considering we're not on good terms with them." Naruto lifted his head up and searched for the team from Kumo, figuring they must be powerful in order to be in the exams while in a somewhat hostile village. As he did, his eyes made contact with the blonde Kumo kunoichi who had watched him earlier. He took a brief moment to notice her features. She was slightly older than he was by maybe a few years, with long blonde hair several shades lighter than his and bound in bandages that went down to mid-back. She had a black sleeveless shirt with a purple armor piece that covered her stomach up to the middle of her sizable chest. She also wore matching pants and sandals with a violet sash around her waist. Spending time with Anko as much as he had, the small pervert in him that she had created could not help but notice the woman's beauty. However, he also sensed some kind of strange connection to her. Not that she was familiar in any way, but that she felt similar would be the best way he could put it. Like Gaara but different. Both of them soon noticed they were staring at each other and blushed a bit as they looked away. "Do your cards hold individual information?" asked Sasuke, bringing Naruto's attention back to the rookie group. Kabuto smirked. "Of course, all I need is a name, or even initials, and I can find them for you. Give me everything you have on Rock Lee of Konoha, Sabaku no Gaara of Tsunade and Uzumaki Naruto." Everyone looked at Sasuke, wondering why he wanted information on the dead last and his teammate, or any of the other people here. "Man, Sasuke, all this time we've been a team and you don't even know my skill set." Naruto gave a mock pout. "You really don't know how much that hurts. I almost feel like crying." Sasuke scowled at the Dobi's act, but did his best to ignore him. "Man, you know their names and where they come from, that's no fun," Kabuto said as he held up 3 cards. One of them went up in smoke to reveal Rock Lee's card. "Let's see, Rock Lee has 246 D rank missions and 22 C rank missions. His teammates are Higurashi Tenten and Hyuga Neji, last year's Rookie of the Year. Says here that in the academy he had no skills to speak of, but in the last year his Daijutsu made a phenomenal jump. Last year he could have entered the Chunin exams, but his sensei held the team back a year to gain more experience." Next we have Sabaku no Gara. It says here he's done 8 C rank missions, 27 B rank missions and get this, 1 A rank mission. His teammates are Sabaku no Tamari and Sabaku no Kankuru, his older siblings. Apparently they're the children of the Kazekage. Also this is just a rumor, but apparently he's come out of every single mission without even getting a scratch. Naruto eyed the red-haired Jonan curiously, so he's pretty strong then. I bet it will be a blast to fight him. And finally we have Uzumaki Naruto. Let's see, his stats show 65 D rank missions, 1 C turned A rank mission and that's odd. It says he also has 1 B rank mission that was not given to his other 2 teammates. Said teammates are Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. He's average at both ninjutsu and taijutsu but has no skills to speak of in genjutsu. "Dobi, how do you have a B rank mission when I don't?" asked Sasuke, his scowl back in place. Naruto gave his raven-haired teammate an indifferent shrug. "Sorry, but it's classified information. If you don't know, I can't tell you." The Sundaime had told him that he could not tell anyone of Mizuki's betrayal as it was a matter of village security. Of course I think the whole thing was off the record, wasn't it? Naruto looked at Kabuto with a frown. So how did he know about it? The blonde shook his head. He was starting to get paranoid. Damn Anko and her frickin' paranoia. Next thing you know I'm gonna start watching for shadows creeping up on me when I'm sitting on the john. So as you can see there's a big turnout this year. All of these teams are the cream of the crop, the best of their villages. Kabuto paused for a moment before adding, "Well, I'm not sure about Otto, since they just started up last year they're pretty small time and only managed to send 1 team." "You hear that?" asked a teen with bandages covering his entire head except for the right eye. "He called us small time. Why don't give him a piece of our mind, Dosu?" suggested their female raven-haired teammate. "I say we do more than just give them a piece of our minds," suggested the shinobi with spiky black hair. "Yeah. Let's show them what Otto shinobi are capable of," Dosu said right before all 3 disappeared. Only a few of the Jonan within the room could see them, those being the team of Kumo Ninja, the Sabako Trio, Team 9, Kabuto, and Naruto. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he watched the trio close in on Kabuto. He was not sure what they were doing, but there was no way he was going to let them hurt a Konoha shinobi. A second later a spiky-haired Otto shinobi threw 2 kunai at Kabuto, who jumped back to avoid them. As he stopped, Kabuto looked up to find Dosu right in front of him, with the other 2 on his left and right. The Otto Jonan was just about to swing the odd-looking metal gauntlet at the purple-clad Jonan, when Naruto appeared right in front of him. "Konoha Senpu, Leaf Hurricane," Naruto shouted as he spun around in the air and smashed his foot into Dosu's face, hard. The Otto Jonan was sent flying backwards, smashing into the wall on the opposite side hard enough to leave cracks. His 2 teammates might have helped, but before they could even make a move 2 solid copies of the blonde appeared behind them, placing a kunai against their neck. The rookie Jonan, including Team 7, stared at the blonde in shock. Most of them had not even seen Naruto move, much less figured out when he had the time to make clones. What's more, the clones were solid. "I don't know who the fuck you people think you are, but if you're going to attack a Konoha shinobi in Konoha territory you must have been hit with every single branch when you fell out of the retard tree." Naruto spoke with a rare scowl. Very few things could actually piss him off, and one of them was when people tried to hurt comrades for no real reason other than to prove their own superiority. Interesting. That kid is much stronger than one might give him credit for at first glance, the blonde Kunoichi thought. I wonder if he acts the way he does to purposely make people underestimate him. "You've been staring at that kid quite a bit, Yugito-san," the male Jonan on their team said. "Finally found someone for yourself?" A light blush spread across Yugito's cheeks, however she quickly dispelled it and glared at her teammate. "I don't know what you're talking about, Daisuke." Daisuke just smirked. "Whatever, just remember why you were put on this team in the first place." Yugito just turned her head, not deigning to look at her teammate who had always been an ass to everyone no matter who they were. Dosu groaned a bit as he stood up and shook his head, trying to clear the cobwebs out of it. "That blonde boy hit hard. Oi! You still conscious?" Naruto said with a smirk, I hope I didn't hit you too hard. After all, someone as stupid as you needs all the brain cells they can get. You talk big boy, but that was nothing more than a lucky shot. Dosu growled, angered at being embarrassed and hit by someone who he had not anticipated as being that strong. Well then, why don't you just try again? Naruto taunted, leaking a bit of his killing intent. The next time you try that shit, I'll make sure you get acquainted with that wall so well you won't be able to leave it. Alright, that's enough. Quiet down, you little bastards. A gruff voice spoke up. There was a puff of smoke erupted at the front of the room. When it cleared, it revealed a tall scarred man in a black trench coat and blue proctor's uniform, along with a dozen chunin in similar outfits minus the trench coat. I'm Morino Ibiki, the proctor for this exam. So long as I'm here there will be no fighting. Do I make myself clear? The man asked, glaring at the Autogenon before turning his attention to the blonde. However, the moment he did, Ibiki felt pale. Is that you, Scarface-san? Asked Naruto with a smirk. Who knew you'd be proctoring these exams? I thought you would be smashing heads in or something over at Ion with Anko Ne-chan. Uzumaki, I had not realized you were going to be in these exams. Ibiki shifted a bit, not liking the very Anko-like grin on the Genon's face. Oh, you know me. Naruto walked up to the much larger man, the grin never leaving his face. I always gotta be a part of the action. It's a good thing you're here though, since you still owe me 200 yen from last week's poker game. Unless of course you want me to tell these wonderful Genon about the time you dropped your cough drawers cough while interrogating someone cough. The blonde held out his hand, smirking as Ibiki began grumbling a bit before pulling out his wallet. How you managed to convince Anko to let you into our poker game I'll never know. Though you'll forgive me if I hope it doesn't happen again. Ibiki placed the money in the blonde's hand. Naruto grinned as he unsealed his wallet and put the money in it before sealing it back up. Well, I suppose I can't blame you. It must be embarrassing getting cleaned out by a 12-year-old Genon. But hey. That's life, right? Well, it's a pleasure doing business with you, Scarface-san. Grin still in place, Naruto walked through the surprised crowd and made his way back towards the other rookies. Naruto, how do you know Ibiki-san? Asked Ino. Naruto looked at her and shrugged. I have a friend who works in the Iant division. I managed to convince her to let me play poker with her, Ibiki and a few others. I managed to clean them out completely. A few were left walking home in nothing more than their underclothes. The blonde shinobi tilted his head. How do you know Scarface-san? That's easy, my dad was the former head of the Iant division. Ibiki-san worked under him as an apprentice for a time, so I would often see him over at the house, Ino replied. Naruto clicked his tongue. Huh, small world. Now that that's out of the way, Ibiki started, hoping to regain some of his lost composure. We will now start the first stage of the Chunin exams. Now then, I want all of you to come up here and grab a tab so you can find your assigned seats. Once that is done, the written test will begin. What the hell do you mean a written test? Naruto shouted. Studying or no, written tests have always been the bane of his existence and he doubted that would ever change. Ibiki smirked, feeling the need for some payback. That's right, Uzumaki, a written test. Now I suggest you shut the hell up and sit down before I kick you out. Naruto began to cry anime tears as he sat at his assigned seat, which was coincidentally right next to two other blondes. Tamari was on his left, while Yugito had gotten the seat to his right. Tamari looked at Naruto and smirked. I take it you don't like written exams? Not liking something is like saying it's mildly disdainful, Naruto answered with a derisive snort. It's something that is a minor nuisance to do, but not outside the realm of actually doing. I despise written exams. They have been the bane of my existence ever since the academy. If I could, I would gladly find every single exam ever written and let this Hinigami eat all them, though he would probably get indigestion. Tamari blinked for a moment before letting out a small laugh. Well, it seems you're in for quite the dilemma. You're telling me, Naruto groaned, stupid Scarface team, I bet he did this on purpose. But I'll get him back for this travesty. Naruto stood up and pointed a finger at Ibiki. You hear that, team? Next time we play poker I'm gonna clean you out so badly you'll have to walk home in the buff. Ibiki tossed Naruto a glare as the blonde sat himself back down with Naruto returned the glare. What an odd ninja, thought Yugito as she looked at Naruto. Though, he is kind of cute with those whiskers. She stopped her train of thought right there as a small blush spread across her face before shaking the thought away. What's wrong with me? Thinking about competition like that? Naruto sighed as his glaring contest ended when Ibiki began to explain the rules for the exam. Alright. I will now explain the rules of this test and pay attention because I'm only going over this once. Ibiki waited for a moment to see if anyone was dumb enough to speak. When no one did, he turned to the board, The first rule for this test is that each of you will start off with 10 points, the same amount to the number of questions on this test. For each answer you get wrong, 1 point will be deducted from your overall score. The second rule is that this will be a team test, meaning that if one of you fails, all of you fail. Wait a minute, Sakura shouted, raising her hand. I don't understand. I said no questions. Ibiki barked, cowing the girl to bring her hand back down. The third rule of this test is that anyone who gets caught cheating, either by one of the Chunin or myself, will automatically have 2 points deducted from their test. I've got my eyes on you, one of the Chunin said, freaking out a few of the more susceptible Junon. Well, I don't think Naruto will do well. Even if he sounds smarter occasionally, he's still a baka, Sakura thought. But I know Sasuke-kun will do alright, and I'm confident I can do this, so we should be okay. As for the final rule, anyone who loses their initial points during the test or those who don't answer any of them correctly will fail, along with their teammates. What? Sakura shouted. We're doomed, mumbled Sasuke. Somehow I feel like someone's trying to kill me with their eyes, Naruto said to himself as he felt the killing intent from his teammates. Not one to be outdone, he simply flipped them the bird without turning his head. The last question will be asked at the end of the hour. Ibiki paused as he looked at all the Junon. Begin. Good luck, Naruto said to Temari, who felt a smile come onto her face. He looked over at Yugito and gave her a grin. Good luck to you as well. Yugito blinked for a moment, surprised that someone from another village, especially one her village did not get along with, was wishing her luck. Thank you, she mumbled before looking away. Naruto sighed as he flipped over his test. He looked at the first question and frowned. It was way too hard for him to even begin answering, despite the studying he did. He went down each and every question and found that all of them were too hard for him to even begin to understand. In fact, I don't think anyone can answer these except for a walking dictionary like Sakura. Behind him, Sakura sneezed before writing down the answer to another one of the questions. The blonde shinobi discreetly looked around to see what the other Junon had figured out. He saw Neji was using his Byakugan to get the answers, as was Hinata. Tenten was using mirrors that were controlled by ninja wire to get the answer, and other Junon were using various ways to find the answers as well. It seems that everyone else has also realized that the questions are too hard for them. That has to mean Scarface never intended us to know the answers. He made it hard enough so that we have to cheat without getting caught. Figures he would do something like this. Anko always said he specialized in mental torture. Having figured out what was going on, Naruto now had to find a way to get the answers without anyone finding out. First, I need to find someone with the answers. Looking around, the blonde noticed that the person in front of him was scribbling away and seemed confident that he had all the answers. Bingo! Naruto smirked as he waited for the Junon in front of him to finish his test before enacting his plan. Using his control over wind, Naruto created a large gust that forced the windows open, scattering the papers all over the place. Naruto kept his eyes on the paper he wanted and used the confusion to kawarimi it with his own paper. He replaced the other Junon's name with his own, before grinning and leaning back in his seat with his feet propped up on the desk. Both Temari and Yugito looked over at their fellow blonde, who just minutes ago had been freaking out and raised an eyebrow, wondering what had changed. Ibiki frowned as he watched people shout and try to grab their papers. He had felt a quick burst of chakra but had not been able to determine where it came from. He looked around the room before his eyes caught Naruto, leaning back in his chair with his feet propped up on the desk. Could he have been the one to make that wind? He narrowed his eyes for a moment before looking away. After a while he looked over at the clock. Time's up. Alright, pencils down. It's now time for the 10th question. Just as the man was about to reveal the 10th question, the door opened and in walked Kankuro. Huh? I don't remember him leaving. Naruto scratched his cheek though before shrugging. Ah. I hope your trip to the restroom was enlightening, Ibiki said with a smirk. Crap. He knows about Karasu. Kankuro thought in shock. He tried to play it off as he walked to his seat, absently tossing a piece of paper on Temari's table. Now that we're all here, I can begin the 10th question, Ibiki started. However, before that, there are some rules pertaining to this question that you need to know about. First rule, you have to decide whether or not you wish to take a question. Choose? What happens if we don't take it? Asked Temari. Ibiki smirked. If you don't take it, then your points will be reduced to 0, and you will fail along with your teammates. Well then, of course we're going to take it. A random Junon shouted. Shut up. I haven't finished explaining the rules yet, Ibiki snapped. If you do choose to take the 10th question, but get it wrong, you will not only fail, but you will be barred from taking the Chunin exams ever again. You will remain Junon for the rest of your lives. What? That's bull. There have been plenty of people who have taken this test more than once. Kiba growled as he stood up. Well, it seems you just got unlucky this year. I wasn't proctoring those exams, but now that I am, we're playing by my rules. Here I am, Kami, and you will all listen to what I say. Ibiki chuckled a bit at the shocked and scared looks, however that's why I'm giving you a way out. If you don't feel you can complete the 10th question, then you can bow out now and try again next year. Now for the final question. I will ask those who don't wish to take it to raise their hand. When your number is called, you will be forced to leave along with your teammates. Nobody spoke for several long seconds. However, several people began to raise their hands, bowing out and taking their teammates with them. Naruto frowned as he watched people quit, angry that people could be such cowards. As he continued looking at everyone, he saw Sakura about to raise her hand. Damn it, Sakura. Not now, of all the times for you to get cold feet. Naruto tried to think of a way to get her to stop. Flying by the figurative seat of his pants, he did the only thing he could think of. He raised his hand, shocking the other rookie members. They, along with everyone else, were in for another surprise when Naruto slammed his hand back on the desk with enough force to leave small spider web cracks. That shit's not gonna fly here, Scarface-san. Naruto glared at the man. You can't use such pathetic scare tactics on me. Perhaps the head of the Ion division is losing his touch. Leave it to the Dobi to say something like that. Sasuke shook his head before smirking. At the very least, he keeps things interesting. I know I keep saying this, but this kid is so odd. Yugi-Ito looked at the defiant blonde and smirked. Odd, but as I already said, definitely cute, and I like his attitude. I knew this cutie would keep things interesting. Tamari smirked. I wonder if I can get to know him better after the exams. Ibiki glared at the blonde before looking at the other occupants, noticing that everyone who was about to quit were sitting back down. I'll only ask this once, are you sure you wish to continue? Realize that if you fail, you will remain a Genin for the rest of your careers. If I wasn't willing to risk something as mundane as my career on this question, how could I be asked to risk my life on a mission? Naruto said with a smirk. If someone's actually enough of a pussy that shit like this scares them, then they don't deserve to be Chunin anyway. That little bastard dispelled the illusion of fear I was trying to create. Ibiki frowned as he saw everyone sit back down. Though I do have to hand it to him, he's quite an interesting one. Uzumaki Naruto. He looked around and counted the number of people still there. There's 78 people left. Stretching this out anymore would be pointless. He glanced over at the Chunin proctors to see them giving him a nod. To those of you still remaining, I only have one thing to say. Congratulations on passing the first stage of the Chunin exams. What? A random Genin shouted. What about the 10th question? Asked Ino. Ibiki opened his mouth to speak, however a sound cut him off. He along with everybody else turned to look at Naruto, who was laughing maniacally. The two blonde girls leaned away from him, wondering if he had somehow lost his mind. You care to share what's so funny, Uzumaki? Asked a disgruntled Ibiki. It's just that Ino is supposed to know you since her dad was the head of Ion before you. Naruto laughed, a wide grin on his face. I would have thought she realized your specialty is in psychological torture. She should have known that the entire test was a sham. A sham? Asked Yugi-Ito, tilting her head in confusion. What do you mean? I mean the question on whether or not to continue taking the test was the whole point of the entire exams. Naruto answered with a wide grin. Isn't that right, Proctor-san? Ibiki grunted in acknowledgement. Give the Gaki a cookie. Yes, that's right, the last question was the point of the exam. Then what about the other 9 questions? Asked Tamari, confused and angry at being led on like that. That's easy to figure out, Naruto said as his more analytical mind began taking over. The blonde looked over at Ibiki and raised an eyebrow. Ibiki sighed as he gave a wave, gesturing for Naruto to continue. Right, so the first 9 questions were quite obviously an intelligence gathering session, Naruto began as he recalled some of the information that was in the books Anko had suggested when he asked her. Gathering accurate intelligence in a timely manner has always been one of the key components towards learning more about your enemy, especially in wartime. It's one of the fundamental skills for a Chunin to know, and so Scarface-san over there wanted to make sure we could gather accurate information while under pressure. Hence the Chunin watching us. Naruto looked over at Ibiki and grinned. How am I doing so far? Accurate, Ibiki grunted before continuing where the blonde left off. I'm sure most of you figured out that the questions on the test were far too hard to answer. So you had to cheat in order to get the answers. Though even knowing you had to cheat would have been useless if you didn't have the answers to begin with. Therefore we placed 2 Chunin in the room with you who did have the answers. It was here that the 2 Chunin raised their hand. One of them was the person that Naruto stole the test from. Okay, I did not see that coming. I must have incredible luck, Naruto thought with a sweat drop. As the Gaki said, accurate intelligence is important. Ibiki took off his bandana to reveal a head full of scars. Holy shit, Naruto shouted in surprise, when I called you Scarface I didn't realize it was so literal. Man. It looks like Ten-chan decided to use your head as target practice. A little ways behind Naruto, Ten-ten blushed, secretly vowing vengeance against her blonde friend. You better learn to keep that mouth of yours shut, Gaki, Ibiki threatened while a few of the class snickered. This kid was ruining his reputation. This is the result of when misinformation is more valuable than a life. On missions and on the battlefield people will risk their lives to get that information. But that doesn't explain the point of the 10th question, Tamari said. The 10th question is where this test really comes into play, Ibiki said as he regained his lost pride. The choice to take your chances and answer the question or give up, it's meant to be a hard choice between those two options, though most people are more than willing to bow out and take it next year. Those are the people who don't deserve to be Chunin. Only those who decided to stay and are willing to risk their careers and quite possibly their lives are the ones who deserve the title Chunin. What are you trying to get at? Asked Kiba, who was starting to get annoyed with the man's pointless speaking. What he's saying, dog breath, is that in order to be a Chunin you have to be someone who is willing to risk your life for the sake of your comrades and mission, Naruto said, smirking as Kiba growled at him. You know, if the dead last of your academy class is telling you that, it probably means you should do some more studying. Just because you can know something as pointless as that doesn't make you any less of a loser, Yobi. Kiba growled. Didn't I tell you there would be no fighting? Ibiki shouted, finally having enough and blasting everyone with killing intent. The Junon were instantly cowed. Even Naruto began to feel uncomfortable at the amount he was putting out. I swear, Ibiki mumbled before getting back on track. Anyways, congratulations on passing, and good luck in the next exam. The Junon who passed only had a moment to celebrate before the window next to Ibiki shattered and a black ball of something flew in. Not even a second later their ball unfurled and showed a large banner that became hung in the middle of the room by two kunai on each side and stuck into the walls. The banner read the single and incredibly sexy, second proctor of the Chunin exams, Mitarashi Anko on it for all to see. That was when said trenchcoat-clad kunoichi stepped into view. Alright guys, this is no time to be celebrating, shouted Anko as she put her fist on her hips and grinned, dutifully ignoring the nosebleeds and looks of lust she caught from the men, and the glares from the women. My name's Mitarashi Anko and I'm the second proctor for the next exam, now everybody follow me. She pumped her fist into the air, giving the male Junon a good look at her nearly unclothed assets. Anko, you're early. Again. Ibiki muttered. Hee hee hee, Anko laughed as she rubbed the back of her head in an embarrassed manner. She looked out across the Junon and frowned. What the hell is this, Ibiki? There are 26 teams left. She smirked at her partner. You must be losing your touch. Actually, you can thank that Gaki of yours for all the extra baggage, Ibiki said. Gaki? Anko asked in confusion before her eyes caught the sight of a grinning Naruto. Hey look, it's my favorite Gaki. I didn't know you were in these exams. Naruto gave her a fox-like grin. I was hoping to surprise you. Besides, you didn't think I would miss this party, did you? Hey, I guess not, Anko smirked. Well, this makes things more interesting. Alright you little bastards, I want all of you to follow me. Failure to do so and I'll feed you to my snakes. Anko grinned as she jumped out of the window. Well, we'd better follow her. Naruto stood up and looked at the two girls who he had been sitting by. If you don't do as she says, she really will feed you to her snakes. He shuddered a bit before moving towards the window and jumping out, leaving the two girls confused. After everyone had gotten their wits back, they walked several minutes following Naruto and Anko, who were having an animated conversation about Anko. How the hell does Naruto know this slut? Sakura wondered as she stared at the scantily clad woman in disgust. This woman has the same way of speech that Naruto does. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at the pair. Could she be the person he occasionally refers to? Many of the other Junon had similar thoughts ranging from curiosity to jealousy, with the boys wondering how Naruto knew such a hot kunoichi, while a select few of the girls wondered what that woman did to get the blonde's attention. Eventually they reached a fenced-off forest that held some of the largest trees any of the Junon had ever seen. Naruto walked back to the other Junon, standing beside Tenten as Anko spun around and grinned at them. Welcome one and all to the second stage of the Chunin exams, Training Area 44. Or as I like to call the Forest of Death. Naruto walked back to the other Junon as Anko spun around and grinned at them. Welcome one and all to the second stage of the Chunin exams, Training Area 44. Or as I like to call the Forest of Death. Ah. My home away from home, Naruto said with a smile, making many of the Junon who had him turn and look at him with an incredulous expression. Anko snickered a bit. "You gakus are looking at one of my favorite training grounds, the Forest of Death. You'll find out why it's called that soon enough." "Ha! You can't scare us, lady." Kiba scoffed, trying to hide how nervous he felt staring into the forest in front of him. He had heard stories of this place from his mother, and if she was afraid of it then that meant the place was to be avoided at all costs. Anko grinned as she threw a kunai at the dog using ninja, slicing his cheek open. Before Kiba could even yelp, a hand gripped onto his skull to hold him in place while Anko appeared behind him and licked the Junon's blood from his cut. "You know, it's tough guys like you that spill the delicious blood I love so much all over the forest's ground." Anko grinned as she continued licking the petrified Junon's cheek. "Naruto-kun, no offense, but your friend really scares me," Tenten whispered into the blonde's ear. Naruto just chuckled. "Yeah, she tends to scare people the first time they meet, but she's not bad once you get to know her. However, you really need to ask yourself this: is she creepier than the Lee and Guy Sensei's sunset genjutsu of youth?" An involuntary shudder ran down Tenten's spine. "I don't think anyone can match that level of creepy. She had more than enough of that genjutsu to last for several dozen lifetimes over." Anko grinned in amusement as she watched Kiba look shocked, embarrassed, turned on and scared shitless all at the same time. Kami, how she loved messing with these Junon. She stopped her blood-sucking when she felt a presence behind her and drew another kunai, turning to see a strange woman with a straw hat and an overly long tongue with her kunai being held in said tongue. "Here's your kunai, Proctor-san." The woman spoke in an eerie yet perfectly understandable voice, despite having her tongue sticking out. "Why thank you," Anko smiled as she took the kunai and put it away in her pouch. "But next time I would recommend not sneaking up on me like that, unless of course you have a death wish." "I apologize, I just get excited at the sight of blood, and your kunai cut my precious hair so I couldn't help myself." The Kusagakur, Hidden Grass Village, Kunoichi licked her lips. "Well, it looks like we've got a bloodthirsty bunch this year," Anko said, turning her attention to Naruto who was still speaking with Tenten. "Oi! Gaki, get over here and help me pass out these papers." Anko reached into her trench coat and pulled out a stack of papers from somewhere. Where exactly somewhere was a question up for debate considering she had no pockets on her persons or her clothes. "Whatever," Naruto said as he made several cage bunshine to help Anko pass out the papers. "You just don't want to do it cause you're so damn lazy." "Oh. Perhaps we need to play some more tag, that way I could show you how lazy I am." Anko gave Naruto a sweet smile. Naruto paled. No thanks, I take back what I said." "Good." Anko gave one of the clones the stack of papers. Said clone gave several sheets to the other clones and then they began to pass out the papers. "Before we begin the second exam I need you all to sign these forms. There'll be deaths in these exams and if you don't sign them I'll be the one they hold responsible. Suffice to say I don't want to have to deal with the paperwork when your village bitches and complains to me about your death. But before we get started on the bloodbath that I hope will come, I'm going to explain the second exam to you. After that your team will check into the booth behind me. You will be attempting to live through what will be considered the ultimate survival test. Each team will go through one of the 44 gates and head towards the center of the forest where you will find a tower. However, before you get to the tower you have an objective you must complete. You are to use whatever means you deem necessary to obtain one of two scrolls, a heaven or an earth scroll. Half of you will get one, while the other half will get the other. So we not only have to go through this forest, but we also have to get our hands on the opposing scroll and take them to the tower with both intact?" Sasuke asked. "Yep. That's pretty much what it comes down to," Anko said with grin. "However, there is also a time limit. You only have 5 days to retrieve a scroll and get to the tower." 5 days? Ino shrieked. "But what about food?" whined Kuji. "There's plenty to eat in the forest, either that or you can kill an enemy and eat them." Anko's grin turned bloodthirsty, causing many Junon to shudder. "Now there are 2 ways you can fail this test. One is if you don't show up at the tower within 5 days with both scrolls or don't show up at all. And 2 is if one of your teammates dies in the middle of the exam. Also, I shouldn't need to say this but you cannot look inside the scroll until you reach the tower. You know, the way you tell me not to do something really just makes me want to do it, you know, so I can spite you," Naruto spoke up, grinning at the purple-haired proctor. Anko smirked. "Well, if you do open either of the scrolls you'll be in for a nasty surprise. So for your benefit and my entertainment I hope you don't. I want to see you fight. So now that the explanations are done, sign the form and turn them in at the booth, then pick a gate and prepare to begin the exam." As soon as she finished the Chunin pulled a black curtain over the booth so that no one could look in. Everyone walked away after that, going somewhere to sign the forms before walking over to the booth to get their scrolls. Sasuke looked down at the scroll he had received. It was a heaven scroll, meaning they would need to get an earth scroll to pass. He looked over at Naruto, who was grinning from ear to ear, reminiscent of the crazy proctor who had just finished speaking, while Sakura was looking into the forest with a nervous expression. There's bound to be deaths in this exam. I hate to say it, but I'm confident Naruto can handle anything that comes our way, however I'm unsure if Sakura will be able to deal with it. Sasuke looked into the forest that his team was going to be stuck in for 5 days. Whatever the case, we're going to need to be careful in this forest if we want to survive. You excited, team? Asked Naruto, smirking as the raven-haired Jonin looked at him. After a moment Sasuke smirked as well, showing a rare display of comradeship with his blonde teammate. Of course. This will be a great opportunity to test myself against ninja from other villages. This will definitely be one hell of a party, I can tell you that, Naruto grinned. Suddenly Anko's voice came on over the speakers, the second test of the Chunin exams begins now. The gates opened and the team shot forward, heedless of the dangers that awaited them. Naruto and Team 7 stopped as the sounds of screaming began to echo through the forest. They had known there would be deaths, but actually hearing the screams of people who may be dying at this very moment really made the dangers of this forest sink in. Dobi, from what I heard from your conversation with that proctor, you've been here before? Asked Sasuke. Naruto nodded, that's right, I actually train in here several times a week. You could say I know this place like the back of my hand. Sasuke grunted, so then what would you suggest we do? Both Naruto and Sakura looked at their teammate in shock, neither of them had expected Sasuke to ask someone else for their opinion. Naruto was the first to recover. Well, we came through gate 33, if we head 2 miles east we'll run into a river that will take us all the way to the tower. My suggestion would be to take that stream all the way to the tower and then set traps at said tower, since we already know that everyone will be heading there eventually. Of course in this sector there are several man-eating plants, so we'll have to watch out for them. Our best bet for avoiding them will be to stick to the middle ground along the tree branches until we reach the stream. Sasuke nodded, I think that's the best plan we can come up with given the circumstances. You know, you seem pretty chill with essentially giving me the chains of command, team. Naruto raised an eyebrow and grinned, admitting my superiority? Hardly, Sasuke scoffed, but you know this forest better than I do, so it would be stupid of me not to at least get your input when coming up with a plan. That's so heartwarming to know you trust me, team, I'm touched. Just don't get used to it. The two smirked at each other before moving again, making a confused Sakura follow them. After several more minutes of running Naruto stopped. Why'd you stop, Dobi? Asked Sasuke. Gotta take a leak, Naruto replied. Gross, Naruto, don't say such things in front of a lady. Sakura crinkled her nose in disgust. A lady? Where? Asked Naruto, grinning like a madman as he moved behind a large bush, leaving a fuming Sakura. Finished listening to the call of nature, Naruto zipped his pants back up and was about to go back to his team, when he heard a noise. Turning around, he was just in time to see an Ame ninja rush up to him. Naruto had no time to act as the Ame ninja stabbed him with a kunai. However, the Ame ninja was surprised when Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke. The real Naruto jumped right on top of the Ame ninja's head, smashing him into the ground where he met blissful unconsciousness. Grabbing the Jonin by his light band jumpsuit, Naruto hauled the Jonin into the clearing where his two teammates were waiting. What happened? Sasuke asked as he eyed the unconscious Jonin. Naruto scowled, bastard tried to jump me while I was answering the call of nature. Seriously? Who does that? Isn't this a violation of one of the man laws or something? Sasuke just rolled his eyes at how overdramatic his teammate was being. Does he have a scroll? Frowning, Naruto dropped the Ame Jonin and searched him, grinning triumphantly when he found a scroll, but frowning when he saw that it was the Heaven Scroll. Great, another Heaven Scroll, Naruto sighed. Looks like our luck is good, but not good enough to get what we want. Quit complaining, Sasuke said, at least it means one less scroll for someone else. He looked down at the unconscious Jonin. We should tie him up and then we need to come up with a code word in case we get separated and someone tries to do this again. Naruto created a cage bunshine to tie up the Ame ninja. The blonde looked at the Heaven Scroll in his hand before sealing it away in a containment seal on his wrist. After that, the three gathered around each other. Alright, we'll need a code word in case an enemy captures us and tries to disguise themselves to get close. If we do this and the person gets it wrong, we'll assume it's an enemy. Sasuke stopped and looked around to make sure no one was listening in. When someone asked for the ninja song Nin Machine, this is the answer you give them. A large amount of enemies is the friend of the shinobi, Hide and remain silent. A shinobi must understand the proper time, when the enemy is tired and ill-prepared. Naruto blinked. Why the hell would you want us to say such a long-ass phrase? I thought this was a password, not a poem. What's the matter, Baka? Too long to remember? Asked a smug Sakura. Naruto glared at her. Of course it is. Only someone with a large-ass brain like you could remember that. He dutifully ignored the pinkette's growl. Look, I've got a better idea. The blonde pressed a hand to his left torso and unsealed a brush and a bottle of ink. What are those for, Dobi? Asked Sasuke, more curious than angry at having someone suggest something else, at least for now. He may not always get along with his blonde teammate, but he knew that Naruto could come through when it counted. And with such a serious test in front of them, Sasuke couldn't afford to let any feelings of superiority or jealousy get in the way. I always carry some Fuyu and Jutsu equipment on me in case I need to make a seal, Naruto explained as he uncorked the bottle. I want both of you to cut your finger and put some blood into the ink. What? Why would we do that? Asked Sakura, not comfortable with the idea of cutting her own finger. Naruto rolled his eyes. This will let the ink bind with you, making the Fuyu and Jutsu, especially the one I'm about to make, that much more powerful. To both Naruto's and Sakura's surprise, Sasuke cut his finger and dripped some of his blood into the ink. After a few seconds, Sakura followed suit, albeit much more reluctantly. So what is this seal? Asked Sasuke as he watched Naruto place his own blood in the ink and begin to mix it. It's called Sodai Jinsei Fuin, Binding Life Seal. Basically what it does is create a set of seals that will react to their brother seals whenever they are within 16 feet of each other by glowing a light blue and giving a light vibration. Naruto dipped his brush in the bottle and stirred it a bit more. There are more powerful variations of this seal that actually give a subtle hint of what the other person wearing the seal is feeling, but those are only for 2 people to use at a time, since any more would overload the human brain. I created this so that it can be used by more than 2 people, and it will only work for those whose blood is in the ink. Sasuke, where do you want yours? Sasuke sat next to Naruto and showed the underside of his wrist. He watched in mild interest as Naruto used precise and quick strokes of his brush to create what looked like a bunch of scribbles to him. Sakura received hers on the opposite wrist as Sasuke and Naruto had to have a clone do his on the left side of his neck, one of the only places that was not covered in cloth and did not have a seal already there aside from his face. Once he had made all of the seals, Naruto created 2 more clones who went through the same hand seals before putting a hand against one of the seals on the 3 Jinan. Sodai Jinsei Fuoyan. The seals began to glow a light blue before the 3 felt a slight vibration. There we go, all done, Naruto said, feeling proud of finally finding a use for one of the seals he had created for actual ninja uses. Good, now we should get moving, Sasuke said as he stood up. The group was about to move before Naruto felt a small pulse of chakra. He turned around just in time to feel the beginnings of a wind jutsu. His eyes widened, and just when he was about to alert his teammates to the danger, a powerful gust of wind hit them, sending the 3 flying off in separate directions. Sasuke groaned a bit as he stood up and surveyed his new surroundings. He turned around as he heard a twig snap and saw Sakura stepping out from behind the bush. He would have gotten into a combat stance, but his seal began to glow a light blue and give off a soft vibration. Sasuke-kun, Sakura said in relief as she came up to him. Sakura, Sasuke gave a nod of acknowledgement. He may not quite like her, but she was his teammate, and in situations like this they would need to stick together. Have you seen Naruto? Sakura shook her head, for once not scowling at the mention of her blonde teammate. No, I haven't seen him yet. As if summoned by magic, Naruto appeared in the bushes a little ways away. Hey guys. Are you two okay? The blonde began to move, however as soon as he got a few feet from them Sasuke tossed several shuriken, forcing the blonde to block and dodge the attacks. What the hell, team? Sasuke glared at the blonde. This has to be the most pathetic attempt at hanging into someone I've ever seen. First off, Naruto would most likely make some smart-ass remark about Sakura trying to get me alone so she could rape me. Sakura gave a heavy blush and nosebleed at the mental image that evoked, while Sasuke shuddered but continued anyways. Second, the seal Naruto placed on us hasn't changed since you got here. It should have increased in intensity by now. I suggest you reveal yourself before I'm forced to simply kick your ass without an explanation as to who you are. Ku. Very good, Sasuke-kun. It looks like there is more to this team than I thought besides you. There was a puff of smoke, and when it cleared, it revealed the Kusaku no Ichi, who gave the pair a bloodthirsty smirk. Looks like this is going to be more entertaining than even I had hoped for, Naruto sighed as he continued jumping through the trees, trying to locate his teammates through the small scent of them he could find. Ugh, just my luck to be knocked the furthest away. As he continued grumbling, Naruto was forced to jump to the side as a giant snake crashed into the tree he was on. I don't remember seeing any giant snakes in the forest. Naruto frowned as the snake hissed and glared at him. Whatever, I don't have time for you, so you're going to have to go. There was a puff of smoke before it cleared to reveal a rather ornate katana that was several inches longer and 2 inches thicker than a standard sword. As the snake came at Naruto, the blonde shot off the tree like a rocket, letting the giant reptile crash into the tree, shaking it. Hitting another tree, Naruto pushed chakra into his feet before blasting off. He came at the snake hard, channeling wind chakra through his blade as he sliced at it, cutting the head off. The creature thrashed around for several seconds before it went still, then to Naruto's surprise disappeared in a puff of smoke. That was a summon? Naruto said to himself in shock. But that's not possible, the only ones who can summon snakes are Anko and... The blonde stiffened as he realized who that snake summon belonged to. I have to find Sasuke and Sakura fast, and pray that they haven't run into the person who summoned this. Naruto caught a whiff of the pair's scent before heading off faster than before. The strange Kunoichi pulled out a scroll from her pouch and held it up for them to see. You guys want this, right? An earth scroll, since you have the heaven scroll. As soon as she finished, the Kunoichi brought the scroll to her mouth, right before she shoved it down her gullet. Both Konohage and An turned a light green and looked like they wanted to puke. That's disgusting. Sasuke thought as he shuddered. Now we can fight for these scrolls, with our lives on the line, the woman finished as she released an intense killing intent. Both Sasuke and Sakura gasped as they fell to their knees, shaking and struggling to breath as images as their deaths at the Kuza ninja's hand came to their minds. They saw themselves getting gutted by a long sword, getting brutally ripped apart, and all manner of gruesome deaths. The images of death lasted several seconds before they disappeared. Yet the feeling remained the same, gripping their hearts and preventing them from moving. This is no Genjutsu, Sasuke struggled just to breathe. Her killing intent is so intense it showed images of my death. I've never felt something like this before, not even from that time with Zabuza's Sakura. Sasuke turned and saw that Sakura was even worse off than he was, shivering uncontrollably as tears ran down her cheeks. Well, it seems neither of you can move, a pity. I expected this to be a challenge. The woman said with a frown. I guess I'll just get rid of you right now. She pulled out 2 kunai and gave them a lazy toss towards the 2 prone Jonin. Come on, move, I've got to move. Sasuke struggled to move the hand he had that held his kunai. Come on, move. Move. At the very last moment, Sasuke managed to stab himself in the leg. Acting quickly, he grabbed Sakura and leapt away. I see, so the prey managed to use pain to get rid of his fear. The strange Kunoichi licked her lips. It seems the prey might be more interesting than first glance may seem. Sasuke stopped behind a tree when he felt they had gotten a safe distance away. He knelt down on the branch, pulling the kunai out of his leg with the winds. His Sharingan eyes began spinning frantically as he looked around for any sign of the frightening woman. Sasuke-kun, your leg looks pretty bad, Sakura said as she looked at the wound. Let me help you with the pink. It was silenced when Sasuke covered her mouth with his hand as he searched for the woman. He's completely terrified right now. I've never seen him this scared before, Sakura thought in surprise. It was then that she noticed the large snake above them, getting ready to devour the pair, and tried to warn Sasuke, but couldn't because of the hand on her mouth. Finally she managed to back away as she pushed the hand back. Sasuke-kun, there's a snake above you. The raven-haired boy turned and grabbed Sakura before jumping off the branch just as the snake smashed it. He set down Sakura and jumped away as the snake seemed to follow him. Damn it. I was so frightened I wasn't aware of my surroundings. Sasuke grabbed several kunai and shuriken and began flinging them at the snake, aiming at the head in order to kill it. He gave a soft sigh of relief as the snake hissed and began to fall down. Then to his horror the scales on the snake began to crack, and then revealed the woman who had been chasing him came out, grinning at him widely. You two shouldn't relax even for a moment, the woman gave a bloodthirsty grin, in the presence of a predator. The woman began to slither across the tree branch, only to be stopped by a powerful wind blade cutting the branch in front of her. You know, if you two wanted to have a party like this you should have invited me, a voice spoke up from above them. The two Jonin looked up to see their teammate standing there. Despite the joking tone, he had a serious expression on his face. Well, that was quite the wind jutsu, the woman said with a grin. I don't think I've seen a wind blade that powerful before in a while, and coming from a Jonin too. Surprises seem to abound on this team. Naruto glared as he jumped down to his teammates. Get the fuck out of that disguise, it's not fooling anyone. Orochimaru. His two teammates stiffened and paled at the familiar name. Everyone had heard of Orochimaru, a genius shinobi who had been trained by the Sun Daime Hokage along with Jiraiya and Tsunade. A man who was considered the foremost ninjutsu expert, and along with his two other teammates had been dubbed the title of Sannin due to their famous battle against Salamander no Hanzo. He was also one of Konoha's worst traitors, an S-ranked missing ninja who was wanted for inhumane experimentation on citizens of Konoha and most likely, many other villages and countries. Meanwhile the kunoichi just chuckled, "That's quite insightful, I would never have expected it from the dead last of his class." The kunoichi brought a hand to her face, peeling away the skin to reveal a pale face with yellow-slitted eyes. "Tell me how you knew it was me?" Naruto glared back despite the feeling of dread that was in his gut. He had really hoped he was wrong about who this was. It had been an assumption based on the fact that only he and Anko could summon snakes. Only two people in this world can summon snakes, you and Ankane-chan. "Ah. Yes, that's right, you know my old student." Orochimaru chuckled in twisted glee. A part of the Sannin was amused that this boy seemed close enough to consider Anko as an older sister figure. Maybe he could use that for some form of psychological warfare. Tell me, how is dear Anko-chan? She was always my favorite, you know. Is she still sore about me leaving her? You know, I've heard many stories about her promiscuousness within Konoha. I guess I shouldn't be surprised you two seem to be getting along well. Don't you dare talk about Anko. Naruto clenched his fist so hard he began to bleed. The urge to kill this man was so strong the whiskered blonde had almost launched himself at the snake Sannin right then. It was only through sheer force of will and knowledge that he would not last 5 minutes against this man that allowed him to contain himself. Because of you she's become an outcast, and only a few people are even willing to try and get to know her. It seems I touched a sore spot. Orochimaru chuckled. You and Anko-chan seem quite close. However, I have not come here for idle chatter about my previous favorite tool. There are other matters I must attend to. What's he after? Naruto kept his eyes trained on the snake Sannin as he listened to the man's words. The whiskered blonde did his best to remain calm and think clearly despite being near someone who could kill him as easily as one breathes. There's only one reason someone like him would reveal himself to a couple of Jonin in a village that he betrayed, but that wouldn't make sense. An S-rank missing ninja comes to the Chunin exams for the entire purpose of fighting one of us in the forest of death. I don't understand what he hopes to gain from something like this. Why are you here? Asked Naruto. He was not quite sure that he would actually get an answer. After all, why would someone with such a reputation bother to tell a Jonin his plans? Because of this line of thought it came as quite a surprise when he did receive one. Why I am after Sasuke-kun, Orochimaru chortled, he is something I want. What does he? Naruto's eyes widened as he realized what this was about. You want his Sharingan. That was the only possible explanation Naruto could come up with. Anko had told him about her relationship to Orochimaru, how she was his apprentice. She had also informed the blonde of her sensei's desire to learn all the jutsu in the world. At the time Naruto had simply snorted, wondering why someone would pick such an impossible dream. However, if Orochimaru ever got his hands on the Sharingan, that dream could possibly become a reality. Sasuke's head snapped up and he looked between Naruto and Orochimaru, looking slightly pale and angry. It seems information on you was wrong. You are much more intelligent than my informant gave you credit for, Orochimaru said, licking his lips. He would love to investigate this matter further, however, but I have no time to play games with you unfortunately. So just let me tend to my business with Sasuke-kun and I'll let you live. Naruto looked back at his teammates. Sasuke was still standing behind him looking nothing like the Sasuke he knew from his team. Sakura was watching the proceedings in fear, shaking from head to toe at being so close to an S-ranked criminal of Orochimaru's caliber. I must be stupid to even think of taking on a Sannin on my own, Naruto thought as his hands made a hand seal, releasing the weights and resistance seals he had been wearing. He instantly felt lighter and more agile. He knew it would not be enough to defeat a Sannin, but it would at least help. He turned back around and glared at the Sannin. I may not get along with these two very well, but they're still my teammates. The only way you're getting the team is over my cooling corpse, Naruto declared, shocking his teammates and amusing Orochimaru. How admirable, Orochimaru chuckled at the blonde's determination, amused by his desire to protect his comrades. Very well then, let us see how you do Naruto-kun. Sasuke, I want you and Sakura to get out of here, Naruto said as he turned to look at his shocked teammate. I doubt I'll last more than 5 minutes against Snakeface over there. You'll have to get away and find a safe place to hide in that amount of time. I suggest you leave now. Naruto brought his attention back to Orochimaru. He began pumping chakra through his body, strengthening limbs and speeding up his reaction time. Without preamble, the blonde launched himself at Orochimaru, closing the distance in several seconds as he reared his fist back to punch the snake Sannin, only for a knee to smash itself into his gut. However, at the last second, Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke and was replaced by a log. "Oh, Kawarimi," Orochimaru mused with a grin. "Fuuten, Kamikaze no Tatsumaki, wind release, tornado of the divine winds," Naruto shouted out as he appeared on Orochimaru's left, thrusting out both palms towards the snake Sannin. Two large tornadoes ripped from Naruto's palms and through the air. Orochimaru jumped out of the way as the branch he was on got torn to shreds. "I don't think I've ever seen that jutsu before," Orochimaru mused as he looked from Naruto to the destroyed tree branch. "You shouldn't take your eyes off your opponent," Naruto yelled from behind Orochimaru, his fist already in motion to attack. The snake summoning shinobi spun around and weaved through the fist kick combo that the spiky-haired blonde sent his way, bending like a snake as he did so. Orochimaru lashed out with a punch that managed to connect to Naruto's chest, sending the Jonin staggering back. Before Naruto could recover, Orochimaru was in front of him, launching punches and kicks at Naruto, who did his best to dodge and block them. However, for every one attack the blonde got away from, at least 3 more hit their mark. It was obvious to the two who were watching that Orochimaru was merely playing with Naruto, picking apart the Jonin's defenses like they were nothing. He would get inside Naruto's guard and place several hits that, while stung, did not really damage Naruto. Then he would retreat and test the blonde's reaction times. Naruto strained his eyes as Orochimaru continued moving, trying to see his attacks and counter them. The man was fast, he was even faster than what the blonde had seen from Guy, and Naruto knew he was still holding back immensely, making the battle enough of a challenge to prove interesting. He knew from his conversations with Anko that Orochimaru was like a snake dealing with its prey. He loved to play with them, to toy with them and humiliate them, to lure them in and strike them. Exactly what he was doing to Naruto right now. Naruto sidestepped a punch, only to find it was a feint and get kicked in the stomach. He would try to block a kick, only for Orochimaru to switch at the very last second and kick Naruto with the opposite leg. He would try to come in with an attack of his own, throwing punches, kicks, launching elbows, knees and headbutts. Orochimaru would weave between them like a snake and then hit him with his own attacks. Naruto sent a heel kick out that was aimed for Orochimaru's leg, watching as the man slithered around the attack and came in with his own. Barely managing to shift his body to the side, the blonde Jinchuriki let the attack slide past him. He grabbed onto the limb and attempted to reel Orochimaru in so he could strike at the man's face. However, despite not looking it and despite not being as physically strong as his teammate Tsunade, the snake Sannin's strength still exceeded Naruto's. Rather than letting the blonde pull him in, Orochimaru yanked his arm and made the blonde shinobi stumble. With his opponent now off balance, the S-ranked criminal used a knife strike to hit Naruto in the throat, forcing his esophagus closed for a moment and choking him. Orochimaru then lashed out with a kick to the blonde's ribs, sending Naruto tumbling back. However, Naruto managed to change his fall into a roll, kipping back on his feet. Realizing he was merely being toyed with, Naruto decided to attack from a distance, launching a wind blade from his hand. Orochimaru raised an eyebrow in mild surprise at the display of pure elemental manipulation, but still managed to dodge the attack. Naruto launched several more wind blades, hoping to distract him and buy him enough time to come up with some kind of plan to get him out of this alive. However, it seemed Orochimaru did not feel like giving him any Sinayashu. The snake Sannin thrust out his hands and 6 snakes shot from the man's sleeves. Thankfully for Naruto, he had been fighting against Anko for several months and had come up with an effective strategy for dealing with this jutsu. Channeling wind chakra into the palm of his hand, Naruto thrust it forward, unleashing a powerful wave of wind that the snakes smashed into and stopped cold. It was almost as if they had hit a wall. The snakes dispersed and the blonde also thanked himself for his foresight in learning how to manipulate the elements in its raw form rather than just using standard jutsu. That he could do this with just the training he had proved that this was a good path to follow up on. Going through several hand seals for something he was not yet capable of doing with just manipulation, Naruto called out one of his more powerful wind jutsu, Fuuten, Rinkudan. Naruto hit himself on the stomach, causing a baseball-sized bullet of air shot out of Naruto's mouth. It sailed right towards Orochimaru, who merely bent his body in an angle that no human should be capable of, before resuming his original standing form. However, that small dodge had given Naruto time to close the distance between them again. He launched a fist that had wind chakra surrounding it at Orochimaru, who merely redirected the fist elsewhere as it released a blast of wind. Getting closer into the blonde's guard, the Sannin shot a punch into Naruto's ribs, only for Naruto to disappear in a puff of smoke and be replaced with a log. The real Naruto appeared behind Orochimaru, his fist linked together by his thumbs as he thrust them out. Fuuten, Kamikaze Seiken. Two large fist-shaped blasts of wind smashed into Orochimaru, leaving two fist-shaped indents on his chest and stomach. Before Naruto could celebrate his victory, Orochimaru broke down into snakes that slithered away. Ku. That was quite the jutsu, Naruto-kun, a voice said behind him. Naruto stiffened in surprise. He turned just in time to receive two fists to the chest. Naruto felt as a few of his ribs compress under the pressure of the hit before breaking. Time seemed to stand still for those few seconds as Naruto's ribs buckled and caved under the strength of the attack. It restarted itself and Naruto found himself smashing into a tree trunk hard enough to leave an imprint of himself before he slid down it. Well, that was certainly an amusing battle. Ku. Orochimaru smiled as he turned to Sasuke and Sakura, who had not left like Naruto told them to. Now I wonder if you can do any better, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke's eyes widened as the S-class criminal walked towards him at a sedate pace. No. Stay back. He threw several shuriken and kunai at Orochimaru, but the man merely weaved in between them like they were not even there. Ku. It seems you still hold fear, child. Orochimaru bit his thumb and began doing a few hand seals. What a disappointment. If this is all you're capable of, I'll just let my pet deal with you. Kushios no Jutsu, summoning jutsu. Orochimaru slammed his hand onto the branch, causing seals to appear on the tree branch under it. There was a puff of smoke and Sasuke and Sakura found themselves staring at a large snake. Time to feast, my pet, Orochimaru chortled from atop the snake. The reptile hissed as it bared its fangs at Sasuke, right before lunging down to devour the boy whole. Sasuke could do absolutely nothing as the snake closed in on him, too busy dealing with the shock of Naruto's decision to protect him, and the fear he felt of Orochimaru. However, before the snake could swallow the Tujanon whole, Naruto appeared in front of it, letting the creature hit him in the back as he channeled chakra to his feet. The giant snake was stopped by Naruto right in front of Sasuke, who stared at the blonde in shock. Outside of the Forest of Death, one Mitarashi Anko was happily drinking her red bean soup and munching on some dengo. There ain't nothing better than dengo and red bean soup. Once I'm done eating, I guess I'll head over to the tower. It's been about 24 hours, so the fast one should be finishing up. Anko finished eating all of the dengo and threw the pointy toothpick at the tree. There, a perfect leaf symbol, she exclaimed as she finished making the symbol of Konoha from the toothpicks she had been throwing that had held her dengo. There was a sudden puff of smoke and one of the Chunin proctors appeared in front of her. There's big trouble, Anko-san. We need you right away. Anko stared at the Chunin with a blank expression as she chewed on her dengo. What is it? Bodies, 3 of them. There's something wrong with them, something I think you need to see. Anko tapped her chin and thought before deciding to follow the Chunin. When she got to the bodies, it was to discover something that rather shocked her, especially since she had seen it before. After examining their papers and personal items, they seemed to be from Kusagakure who were entered into this exam, but the Chunin who was looking at the information on the team shook his head. As you can see, they have no faces. They're blank, as if they've been completely melted off. There's no mistaking it, this jutsu is Orochimaru's work. Anko thought frantically. But why is he here? And why now? Show me the pictures of these 3? Anko demanded. When she got to see the photo IDs, it was to see the face of the woman who had grabbed Anko's kunai with her tongue. I should have realized this from the beginning. He was already in disguise at the time, the snake mistress swore as her mind became a whirlwind of activity. Anko whirled on the 3 Chunin who were at the scene. I need you to report this to Hokage-sama. Get him to send in some Anbu teams into the Forest of Death. I'm going after them right now. Anko did not bother to wait for a reply as she ran towards the gate and jumped over it, heading into the Forest of Death to confront her old sensei. Naruto's head was looking down, casting his eyes in shadow as he spoke. What the fuck is wrong with you? The voice was different, more guttural and raspy than it had been. I asked you a question, team. Naruto lifted his head up to reveal red eyes with black slits running down the middle. His whisker marks were thicker, more jagged than the standard lines they normally were. And his canines had elongated, jutting from his upper lip. What's the matter, pussy? Too scared to even run away? Naruto glared at Sasuke. DCH. This isn't the team I know. That Sasuke may have been a prick, but he was never this weak and cowardly. Naruto reared his fists and then slammed them into the snake behind him, leaving 2 decently sized imprints on the creature's face. The snake hissed out in pain before being forced back the summoning world. I guess I'll just have to take care of this myself. Naruto glared at Orochimaru as he landed on the branch. Now this is interesting, the snake Sannin thought to himself as he began to dodge and weave in between Naruto's renewed assault. His speed, reflexes and strength seems to have doubled. The boy is quite the surprise. Naruto jumped into the air and descended on Orochimaru with an axe kick. The snake Sannin jumped back, letting Naruto's heel hit the tree, creating a small crater on the branch. Naruto appeared in front of Orochimaru and attempted to claw the Sannin's eyes out. Orochimaru ducked and weaved under the attack, coming into the blonde's guard and hitting him numerous times in the torso. However, this time, all they did was make Naruto stumble back a little. Glaring Naruto came in again, this time with a low kick high kick combo. When Orochimaru dodged all of them, Naruto shot a wind blade at him from point blank. To Naruto's surprise, Orochimaru was able to dodge the attack enough that it only left a light wound on his left arm. Gritting his teeth, he charged in even more furiously than before. Despite the increase in speed, Orochimaru found that Naruto was getting increasingly sloppy. Where before his attacks had some fluidity, now he was leaving nearly twice the amount of openings. I see, so the more heightened his emotions get, the stronger and faster he becomes. Orochimaru sidestepped a punch and delivered his own at the Jonin's face, sending the blonde stumbling back. But it comes at the cost of his ability to think clearly. Deciding he had seen enough, Orochimaru waited until Naruto attacked next, Kawirameing himself with a Tsuchi Bunshine mud clone. He appeared behind Naruto and wrapped his tongue around the blonde Jonin's neck. What the? Hey, let me go, you stupid fuck. Naruto grabbed onto the tongue as he began to struggle against the tight hold. Orochimaru lifted the parted Naruto's cloak and lifted up his shirt. Ah. So that's the seal that keeps it at bay. I have to admit, it's quite the masterpiece. When your emotions are heightened and you're in danger, it releases the power of the QB. Very interesting. You may actually be of use to me. The fingers Orochimaru's left hand began to glow purple. However, just as he was about to slam his fingers into the seal with the Gogyo Fuiun, 5-prong seal, Naruto decided that he would rather not have the snake Sannin's touch his stomach, or any other part of him for that matter. Channeling chakra into his gauntlets, the slinked sound of his tri-claws coming out sounded, right before he sliced a decent-sized chunk of Orochimaru's tongue right off. Gah! Orochimaru hissed in pain as half of his tongue was severed. You goddamn brat. He opened his mouth and a snake shot out of it. The snake opened its mouth to reveal a sword, which stabbed Naruto right through the stomach, just missing his spinal cord as it went out the other end. Ugh! An animalistic howl of pain shot out of Naruto's mouth as he slammed into a tree, the sword pinning him to it. Naruto, Sakura shouted, her voice working for the first time since the fight started. Coo. That was quite the performance, Naruto-kun. Orochimaru regained his composure as he began going through more hand seals. As a gift to you, I will grant you some of my power. Think of it as a gift for impressing me so much. The snake Sannin's neck elongated and he bit Naruto on the left side of his neck. Ah! Naruto screamed as a seal began to form in the place Orochimaru bit, taking the shape of a diamond pattern. Now, Orochimaru turned to look at Sasuke. Let's see if the Uchiha can do as well as Naruto-kun did. Had Orochimaru bothered to look at Naruto again, he would have seen the seal he created pulse, with wisps of purple chakra coming out of it. Naruto's eyes shot open as he sat up. What the where am I? What happened? He asked himself as he looked around, frowning when he saw that he was in Konoha. At least, it looked like Konoha. The buildings were the same, and he could see both the Hokage monument and the tower. However, where the Leaf Village would normally be bustling with activity, this place looked dead. There was no one there, something that rather disturbed the young Jonin. Standing up, Naruto began to walk around, trying to find any signs of life. How did I get here? He asked out loud, not expecting an answer. The last thing I remember was his hands immediately went to his neck and stomach, checking to see if the stab wound and the puncture marks he would not doubt have on his neck were there. They weren't there, making Naruto frown. I don't think I dreamed it, so. He was knocked out of his thoughts when he saw a shadow hopping across the roofs. Spinning around, Naruto jumped onto the nearest roof and took off after the shadowy blur. Hey! Stop! He called out to no avail. Either the person didn't hear him or the man was just not listening. Damn it, listen to someone when they're talking to you. Stop. Naruto chased the shadowy figure all over Konoha, eventually ending up on the Hokage monument. What the hell is going on here? Who are you? He glared at the figure whose back was turned to him. Answer me. He. The figure laughed, the voice sounded demonic and with an odd echo, as if two people were speaking. So you can't figure it out? Figures, I was always the brains between the two of us. The figure turned around, lifted the hood it was wearing, causing Naruto to gasp as he saw the spiky blonde hair, and 3 whisker marks on each cheek. There was no mistaking it. It was himself. Sodai Jinsei Fuin, Binding Life Seal, Fuin Jutsu, no rank. A seal designed to inform one's teammates when they are in the same vicinity of each other. Works in a 16 feet radius by glowing a soft blue and vibrating when a teammate is near. Glow and vibration intensify when more than 2 people with the connecting seals are near. Fuuten, Kamikaze no Tatsumaki, Wind Release, Tornado of the Divine Winds, B-Rank Elemental Jutsu. Channeling wind chakra and rotating it around the fists, the user thrusts his hands out and releases his chakra. This creates 2 large tornadoes filled with wind blades that slice and dice an enemy within the tornado. Tsuchi Bunshine, Mud Clone, C-Rank Clone Jutsu. As the name suggests, this clone is made by infusing one's chakra into the mud and making it take the shape of its creator. Unlike Mizu Bunshines and Cage Bunshines, one hit will not dispel this type of clone. It is designed to take more punishment than the other clone types, and is standardly used as a great escape jutsu to use in conjunction with Kawarimi. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.